Well, hello. Welcome to Tarot for Our Times. Today we're going to be talking about the muskrat. Things are not going very well for him. Wow, on so many fronts too. Let's see. Tesla is not doing well. It's been kind of seesawing, but I believe it closed down pretty low this weekend. And then he's got some legal problems in Wisconsin. Seems like he maybe they have a very strict law about doing any kind of vote influence, even influence to pay to influence people to vote. And if he gets into trouble with them, there's no presidential pardon for state charges. So he's not going to worm out of that. Um, and he's also could be getting, if you've noticed lately, he's getting more unhinged. I think the ketamine is really starting to do a number on him, and he's getting, like really weepy and nauseating and just awful. So I'm going to look into. I want to see basically what his future is going to be here. Oh, also they hate him in Europe too. So I kind of wonder if he may be going back to South Africa, and I want to see do a quick read if he's going to get in trouble in Wisconsin, and will he flee the U.S. So, if you have noticed on the thumbnail, I have this muskrat meme onto the Page of Cups in reverse. That is our card of the day. And let me tell you about this little fellow when he's in reverse. Boy, there's a lot to tell you about. It just fits him so well. I didn't have to really think about this. Okay. So, the Page of Cups is pretty much about immaturity, having emotional problems, substance abuse problems, as is with Cups in reverse. And again, as I've said, it's the old, treatment center rehab thing about whatever age you started to use or drink, that's pretty much where your emotional growth has started. And I suspect that he has been hitting that stuff. But I will say this is for entertainment purposes only. And this is also a card of having an identity crisis, which I believe that this man just doesn't know what he is, who he is, or anything. And there's also the fact that he's at odds with his daughter, who's a transgender, and he just can't seem to get past that. But he's supporting an administration that has pretty much declared them the whole thing with the LGBT community is public enemy number one. So I've been shuffling the cards, but I do like to do a little bit. Oh yeah, these are the stiff guys. I need to shuffle these different. So I want to make sure that these are good and shuffled, because I don't want to have people think I'm stacking the deck or anything like that. So here we go. So I'm using the typical, for this, the typical rider deck. And then I am using the Tarot Royale, Gilded Royale. Go back to those again. And so I do want to give this a little bit more of a shuffle. Hopefully my touch-up job that I did on this deck hasn't smeared, but I did give them plenty of time to dry, so we will see. Okay. Okay, so the long reading I want to do is what's kind of basically going on with him, and what's going as a general thing, and what could be happening in the next few months. So okay, so put this down here. And then we have where he is at now is interesting. Three of Pentacles. That's kind of like he's holding the money. He's handling the money. It goes to that whole thing in Wisconsin where he thinks that all he needs to do is grab a big handful of money and he can pretty much get whatever he wants to get. So that's pretty spot on right there. So it's crossed with the energy of, the High Priestess. So there are some the secrets and all this sort of thing. And it's, I would say that this is about probably, because that story about his daughter, or that he likes to think of as his son, that's fairly recent. I believe that just came out last week, I believe. So I would say that he can throw money at things, but the family secrets are coming out. I suspect he may not have been very thrilled about that. So what's going on underneath all of this? We have King of Pentacles, which is about his wealth. That's in the past. So this is interesting. This is in the past. He's still got the money, but the money is slipping away. I don't know that he could ever become poor with all the money that he has, but, yes. Carrying the burden. This is what he gets as the, I've had it ladies say. He goes into real titty baby mode, as they say, and crying as I'm fixing the government and I'm trying to run my businesses and I don't have time to. So he wants us to feel sorry for him. That is really pathetic. And then, he didn't have to get involved with all of this. That's the whole thing. Okay, so then we have the smoke screen and the illusions. I would say that this is probably going, the guy, if and I did my homework on ketamine, that you do develop a dependency, which is just a sugar coating on your way to addiction, or basically that's just it's the softer word for addiction. And so you need more of that. And the thing about when you start to get, and of course he's not going to be deprived of his supply. Come on, he isn't. He's got some Dr. Feelgood that's just giving him all that he wants. So along with that heavy duty use, then you get your illusions and delusions and of grandeur, of absolute. I mean, this is like he thinks he's running the whole world, but I mean that this is just in poofy clouds that are not real. So this is how he's just basically leaving reality, and I guess he's got his yes men around him that are telling him things that he wants to hear. So then, oh boy, so in opposition of that, we have the hot devil in reverse. And so this is his getting hooked up in MAGA land. And this is the seductive. This deck has the ugly. This has the seductive devil. But he's really chained up to it. And as I said I can't remember, probably a month or so ago, I did a reading about how he and Trump are in this kind of relationship where they have to love each other because they both have something on each other. So that is how they're basically both really chained to the devil. And this always comes up. So this is kind of a, sort of like the Trump, not him, but it's kind of like the Trumpy energy that you really get stuck or you're in trouble. But it's kind of a mutual thing. So it's very interesting. So they're kind of like have to stick with each other, but that remains to be seen. Okay, so in the past, we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. And this is really the unfaithful knight. This is the night where he could be. I don't think that women have really been attracted by his looks or his charisma. I think they've been attracted by his money. He kind of knows that, so he figures he's entitled to not be faithful to them. That's why he's got this whole slew of baby mamas. Some he's married, some he hasn't. You need to. So for some, and this guy is pretty entitled, because if he were poor, he wouldn't be getting any. Come on, not even in his younger days. So that's a sense of entitlement, and also feeding into this illusion that he's real hot stuff. Okay, so now we go to, I feel like pulled to this deck, we go to his conscious thoughts. Okay. Here he is, the star. He thinks that he is the star. He's got it all together. And in a sense, he is, as far as those in his immediate circle are treating him that way. Although he's not as insulated against the hatred of the rest of the world like he probably was before he got into this whole MAGA thing. So consciously, he thinks, I'm a big star. I can turn water into gold and blah, 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 which is part of this delusion because people have told him they could. So subconsciously, I'm shuddering to think. Okay, subconsciously, okay, this is interesting. This is the minor arcana of the death card, which is in reverse. It's the Five of Cups. So the regrets and the grief that he would have, it's not out of any sense of morality, if it or, self-reflection, if it would be if this card were upright. But since it's reversed, it's only like the criminal that feels regret because he got caught. So I would say that inside he's like really, really insecure right now. And he's regretful because people don't love him. He's finding out people don't love him. But yet here he's got his little druggy thing back there that he can always so subconsciously he's a mess. That's really interesting because these things are quite in conflict. So in the present we have, oh boy, Six of Wands in reverse. He's just not winning. This is the card of victory, although it's complicated. This is the card of victory, and it is in reverse. And this is like, he really had the world by the tail before, basically, but since he got hooked up with the MAGA stuff, and it's not only the car, if you see in the thumbnail, it's his cars burning. They're not only burning in the States, they're burning in Europe. The French are, it's Vive la Résistance, back to the 1940s kind of a thing. So he's just kind of losing on all front, and he goes and see, it kind of hooks up with this guy here in the present because, the Knight of Wands in reverse, he can just do whatever he wants. He's rich, he's entitled, and he can just burn things down. But now this is where he realizes there could be a price, but he may be stuck because he's living right next to this guy here. He's living with the delusion that maybe he can turn this right side up and be the winner. Personally, that ship has sailed, I do believe, and he's just still carrying the burden. Wow, all these rods. It's interesting. All of these rods all over the place. Okay. So then in the near future, oh boy, The Queen of Wands in reverse. Um, I I'm going to take this to mean that this is one of his. This is another thing he's got. I didn't mention in the intro. Yes, lest I forget. He's got a baby mama who is after him to, give her money so the kid can go to the doctor and this sort of thing. What I would suspect is if that woman is smart, she's probably getting somewhere else, which is probably what he deserves. So I would say that she could represent more than one of his baby mamas they're getting fed up. This is the whole thing. They're getting fed up with him. The kids don't see him. He just uses that 4-year-old of his as an ornament, that kind of thing. So then we got that whole thing going on. So as we move a little bit further into the future, the Wheel of Fortune. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. In reverse. That is Tesla. Just all these very fiery things here. It's just like burning up. I mean, it's like his business is failing. I mean, if this guy's wealth is on paper, he actually may be really in trouble. I mean, definitely may be in trouble. And you have to wonder, is he starting to kind of think, not that he can really, that maybe all of this has been happening since he got hooked up with Trump, but he's kind of stuck with him. But that doesn't mean that he can't just pick up and leave. I feel like I need to plunk another card down here to see exactly. Oh, yeah, you can't make this stuff up. The Six of Pentacles. I'll give you this. If you do this, I'll throw you a few crumbs. And it's favors balancing out the scale and, treating the people. Oh, in fact, Tesla's probably one of the worst places you could ever work. And I'll throw you a couple of crumbs. And this guy is pretty much in control. So this is the whole thing, is that coming on top of the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, that tells me this thing is actually makes this probably a reversal too. Wowie. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen with all of this with him? And we've got the star. See, here we had this star up right now. She's in reverse with a little, and it hasn't smeared either. Great. With a bathing suit I created for her. So now his star is fading. He never really had that magic of, he's always just bought the magic from other people, like whoever invented the Tesla and all of that other stuff. And I would say this is a Starlink and whatever, Star Trek and whatever that other crap he has with. That could be going down the tubes, because a lot of countries, Canada they canceled out on that one. And I think that other countries are going to follow suit. So his little Star Trek fantasy could be hitting the skids. And he's no longer the star. I mean, this is what he thinks consciously. This reality is going to hit him. So, hopes and fears. Oh, he's hoping to regain his loss, but the fear is that he could lose so much he may have to start over again. And I've got news for him. I don't think there is, at his age and drug use, I don't think there is starting over again. So what do we all learn from this thing here? The Hanged Man. That what this is saying, and I know that and this is upright, yep. The Hanged Man is telling us that we've still got to do things, but to hang in there, don't lose faith. This guy's going down. This is telling me that I can't tell you when, but I as I do my little hand tick thing, I'm seeing in the summer things are going down, and that's what this orange and stuff here. That in the summertime, things are going to really, really, really heat up here, and he may have to come to some kind of a decision. So, you want to know if he's going to get in trouble in Wisconsin, because that is that whole thing of his entitlement, and he thinks he can break the law and all this kind of stuff, and that big orange daddy is gonna help him out. Well, that just isn't not an estate charge. I wonder if he knows that yet. I mean, I wish there was something we could have done about him with Pennsylvania with the election, but although I think there may be something discovered about that, but that's for another reading. Okay, so I'm just going to do a very quick read on, let's see if, I need to put these guys back in here. I always like to disperse them. It makes it easier to shuffle and not come up with the same reading. So, okay, so there we go. Yeah, this was I guess he just waltzed in there. I did it in PA. I'll just do it a little bit differently, and it doesn't say, well, I got news for you. That is illegal. Maybe that isn't in Pennsylvania to say if you voted, but the thing is, it is illegal in Wisconsin. I don't know if they came up with that law after the election, but I think that's an indication that when we get through this nightmare, and we will, there are going to be laws that are going to be changed. I think with presidential powers that I don't think they need a constitutional amendment that says you get convicted of a crime, you can't run. I mean, the thing is that the guy can't even work at McDonald's, it's... Okay, so... give this a good shuffle. Okay, so... let's see, will he get in trouble in what's going to happen in Wisconsin? Is he going to be in trouble in Wisconsin? And and other people, some of my colleagues have been maybe speculating that could be the thing that gets him out of the United States, is to avoid, which and if he never comes back, that'll be just fine with me. Okay, so, oh, yes. We're a little worried about that now, yes. I mean, the guy doesn't sleep anyway, but I think he's going to be even sleeping less. I think this tells me he realizes the gravity of this. So let's see a little bit in the past. Okay, we have the hangman in reverse here. Okay, the hangman in reverse, which is, that's a real jolt. He cannot be, trying to figure out a new angle with this. And I find this deck interesting because they show it with the chains that he may have been really getting himself into a bit of a pickle here with that. Okay. This is telling me that okay, we have strength. Strength coming up, which I would say that I think he's looking for anything to get a strong hold on this, to tame this down. But you have to wonder if because of his drug use, if he's actually thinking straight. Okay, so then we'll see what. Okay. Yeah, with this, there's no going back to the past of getting away with everything. Then we have, Ten of Swords, the end of a cycle. There may be some people that may be stabbing him in the back, inserting the swords so that they can maybe get off the hook themselves. So what I'm seeing is that yeah, this is telling me that he could be getting in trouble. One of his Confederates could be saying, I'm not going to face state charges. So then we have, again, the Nine of Swords. Worry, worry, worry. I think this is worrisome enough that this could actually, and then here we have the Ten of Wands in reverse, that he may just want to unburden himself. I would say this Wisconsin thing could be a turning point, because he may be starting to ask himself, is all of this worth it to get more money? There's other ways of getting more money. So this is telling me, yes, in fact, he's very likely in trouble in Wisconsin, and that there is serious consideration. And let's see, we got a couple of major arcanas, and those are yes cards that he is in trouble. So I think I want to go back here and realize that I think that I got a little message from one of my spirit team that said, oh, no, that's not his strength. It's the strength of the state. The state has the strength over him because of no presidential pardons. So he may be realizing the strength of this, and to see a couple of major arcana is telling me that yes, they're really thinking of that, of prosecuting him. I think with everybody concerned, they'd probably be real happy if he jumped bail and never darkened our door again. I know that prosecutors aren't saying that, but I think throughout history, there have been some that said, okay, they left, good. I don't want to be bothered with this anymore. Okay, so the final thing is, okay. Oh, well, this is kind of leading into the last question. Will he flee the U.S.? If Wisconsin's breathing down his neck, that to me is kind of leading this into the final reading. So okay, so here we have. Okay. Alrighty. I think these are shuffled enough. Okay. Will he flee the U.S.? Okay, we have Temperance. Wowie, in reverse. And even though it's in reverse, it is a major arcana, a yes. And this goes back to and this is in Temperance. When you're reading about people that have drug alcohol problems, that means they are drinking, using, and it's really out of hand. They're off balance. So what this is telling me is that there's that old AA thing about fear, and it's F everything and run. I honestly think that he's getting to the point, whether it's Wisconsin or maybe lawsuits. I think he's being hit with lawsuits, and they're not letting him in to do his damage. That this is like he's getting to the point of, is this all worth it? Whatever Trump has on him, or not, his best thing would be just to go back to South Africa and regroup. And trust me, the EU countries, if he got indicted, stayed indicted, they'd extradite him so fast, I'm sure. Okay, so it's all burning up like his. So in the past, yeah, this is the Five of Pentacles. That's pretty much being left out of the cold, and that he may, not that he's going to become a pauper, that he may start to feel that he'll get paranoid enough to think, oh, I'm on the outside when I used to be behind this window with all the rich people and the warmth and all the food, and they're shut. Whether they are or not, I think that this is telling me paranoia time. Okay, big time paranoia time. Then we have Bye-bye. Six of Swords. This goes, sometimes these cards amaze me. Six of Swords. And I love this deck because they showed the boat as a swan. Now, this comes down to the alcoholic and the addict, what they call doing a geographic. It's not only fleeing from the legal problems, but it's also saying, if I go here or there and I remove myself, that life is going to get better because I'm changing my geography when it's merely just changing seats on the Titanic. So I'm going to say, I think he's going to book, but it's hard to say when. But all these hot colors here, the reds and the oranges, telling me that, and that look at the sun coming up. That looks like warmer climate, summer, that kind of thing. That it could be a summer thing. It could be. I was going to say maybe in the season of Leo, but I could be sooner. It could be sooner if we have a hot, which we probably will, hot spring and early summer, it could be that. So underneath that, the big fear of his money not being able to protect him, he will not be behind that protective wall. So whether it is closing in, I do have to say, seeing Temperance in reverse, it's really telling me that goes to the big paranoia that doing drugs brings. Then we have, walking away. Oh my goodness, walking away. Here we go. Walking away thinking that if I leave all of these issues behind, they'll make them all better. Then we have, the Hermit, but I don't want to be alone. So maybe he's going to, because the Hermit in reverse is talking about the fear of being alone, so that he may go back to not that he loves his kids or anything, but maybe he wants to be in the company of people that he knows. So this is really, really, really pointing to that. And I'm getting a lot with these pentacles in reverse. I mean, that guy could be down to something that could keep us going for the rest of our lives. But this is telling me big time, he's, again, with his little kitty emotional, stunted growth, he's going to be fearing the loss of money. That's just it. He is in total fear of losing his money. And if the lawsuits pile up here, he may just go. So I think there have been some hints that they're saying, okay, your work here is done. And I find it interesting that coincidentally that seems to be happening when things are getting heated up for him. And I would also say that these cards are telling me that if he keeps a lower profile, maybe people won't be burning down dealerships and his cars and everything. Now, I do have to say this, that burning up his cars and anything that has to do with Tesla is really very counterproductive. I believe that people showing up and carrying signs and saying Tesla sucks and so does he, yeah, that's a cool thing to do. But, we're at a precarious point and we don't want to be giving, the higher ups or their psycho at the top to an excuse to bring out the troops, so to speak. So I would say that while I'm not going to cry in my pillow tonight about those cars being burned up, I think it's a very foolish thing to do. It's just not productive, but it is happening. Unfortunately, it is happening, but I have news for him. They will continue to do that, or there will be picket signs in front of dealerships, even if he goes to the most southern tip of South Africa, but I really do get a sense that that he will be going back, and that's why. And who knows? Maybe Trump feels as though the walls are closing in. He can't really do too much of anything else. He's done enough damage already. So there could be an agreement. I think that's highly likely. The cards seem to be pointing to it. But of course, I will come back and revisit this story in the future. So I'm going to sign off for now. So bye-bye, everybody.